Signature Bank Studios. This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Insert Democrat socialist here.
Runs the Democratic House floor for 30 plus years running. He's promising this and he's stealing that. Where can you get that kind of money? He's using your house like his own piggy bank. You ought to know by now. You can pay off your house here in Illinois, but you can never keep up with the taxes. Oh, how it's always been the plan to have a taxpayer pay, no doubt. Not a matter of if anymore, but when. You're moving out.
Top of the morning, Dan, and in for Amy J is Charles Thomas, former ABC 7 political reporter. And, hey, Charles, the Pritzker Purge Law, the so-called SAFET Act, is working just as planned. I note this new report out from Wirepoints. Cook County jail population at its lowest level in 40 years, down 15% since the SAFET Act was implemented.
Really? What's the number now?
4,600.
Really? I can remember when it was over 10,000, and that wasn't that long ago.
You can remember all the way back to 2013?
Yeah.
How about that?
All the way back. I mean, that's an accomplishment from me, by the way. But yeah. So you got, what, less than half? That's amazing. That was one of Toni Preckwinkle's major goals when she came onto the scene, I think, in 2010. To reduce the population at the Cook County Jail, and she has succeeded. My goodness! But you should see some of these. I'm looking at the ABC 7 website now, and the video robberies that are on video.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, man! It's a lot of stuff going on out there.
Well. And people might say, well, that's okay because they're on electronic monitoring. Well, actually, I'm not sure that would be okay, but it turns out that the number of individuals on electronic monitoring has also dropped. It's down 15% year over year, nearly 15% between 2022 and 2023. So emptying out the jails and also fewer people on electronic monitoring, it must mean that the city is exponentially safer.
Yeah.
Except that doesn't seem to be the case. Ted Dabrowski, President Wirepoints, wirepoints.org, joins us now. Ted, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Charles. How are you guys doing?
So give us, I sort of gave the top line here, but dig into this report that you did on, the early impact of the SAFET Act, because we're only talking about a handful of months since it really went into effect. Cook County is implementing in earnest.
The thing about the SAFET Act is that we're the state that entirely wipe out a cash bail. And so this is a massive experiment in the country. And so key to that would be lots of data, after you implement it to know how it's going. The government is way behind on telling us they're managing that, what kind of defendants are being detained, which ones are being set loose, recidivism, all that kind of stuff. They should be telling us exactly how that's working. They can't. With great groups like CWB to tell us what's actually happening on the streets. So we don't have that data. We have to look and see what's happening with jail populations, what's happening with monitoring our bad guys being detained. And the three things that we can look at now worry us because you got the jail population coming down pretty quickly. The electronic monitoring way down. It's down another 10% since the no cash bail went into effect. And then you've got all these detentions that are being proposed by prosecutors, and they're being appealed, I should say. They're being appealed by defendants, at record levels. So it attempts to keep bad guys in jail. And we've seen the stories. They're really bad guys. It's not working, and of course, that's exactly what Preckwinkle and want Fox. They don't want people in jail. They're getting their way.
The other thing is that if you look at some of these videos that are on the ABC7 website right now, you can go to them immediately, and you'll see that the criminals are not at all afraid of what they're doing. I mean, they're going on, some of these crimes are going on for 5, 10, 15 minutes that we're seeing the videos. And the criminals are not afraid to do what they're doing. They're not at all discouraged from it.
Ted, to that point, remind us of the reporting that Wirepoints has done on 911 response calls.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's two things that go with it, right? Over half of all urgent 911 calls don't have police available to respond to. Mm-hmm. So, they know. And look, these guys are smart. They know what they can get away with and what they can't. So, police isn't coming. But then there's the second big fact. And this is based on the police data, so I refuse to believe it. I can't believe it's true, but this is what they say. Just 4% of major crimes result in an arrest. So, look, if you're a criminal and you've been doing this for a while, and you know what's happening out on the streets. If the cops don't come, and even if they do, they don't arrest you, or they can't track you down, they can't chase you in their car, they can't foot chase you. And and that's why you can do repeated. That's why you can do these robberies where you rob one person here, then you go drive 2 blocks, rob somebody there, then you drive another 3 blocks, and you're going to get away with it. And even if you do get busted, guess what? Because the Safety Act, they're going to put you right back on the street in a couple of hours. So what the hell? Go for it.
I mean, this is like the Fox Butterfield moment. So pretrial detention is down, electronic monitoring is down, half of 911 calls don't get a response, and violent crimes were up 14% year over year, 23 versus 22. Well, one explains all of that explains the outcome, but these people have a difficult time, I guess, connecting those dots. I don't know, because as you say, and as Charles was saying, I mean, this is what they want. So they're celebrating a reduced jail population, reduced number of individuals, mainly violent, that would have otherwise been on pretrial detention. They're celebrating fewer people on electronic monitoring, and then they're pretending that violent crime is going down because we had a slight reduction in just one serious murder, one serious category of crimes. But again, overall, up 14%, year over year last year.
Still like nearly 60% over 2019 for major crimes. So these are massive numbers. I think what's interesting is watching the media try to cover this crime and say join and celebrate people in jail, the social justice aspects of this. At the same time, how ridiculous, as Charles just pointed out, how ridiculous it is. Bad guys can sit there and just hang out 15 minutes and go through people's stuff, knowing that, okay.
Ted, I'm looking at a website story right now that's it's headlined, "Group Robs Woman in Jefferson Park." That's 4 men on 1 woman, 1 o'clock in the morning or 4:30 in the morning. Then they returned several minutes later to beat her on the street. And you're looking at this thing, and it goes on for like 10 minutes. No cops. The woman is waving on the street, "Please help me, help me." Nobody will stop. This is incredible that this is going on in the city, but it's the perception of crime, but the perception by the criminal on what he or she can get away with.
A buddy of mine just texted in. He owns a high-end auto repair shop in West Loop. Criminals stole 3 cars right off the lifts at my shop. Right off the lifts. Used one of them for 4 more days in a crime spree. Next time they show up, if we're there, an arrest won't be necessary, if you know what I mean, and I think you do. But this is what it's getting to. This is what you get when you have sort of when you have lawlessness. It's just you're demanding. You're compelling vigilante justice because, people see what's happening and that they are going to be required to defend themselves whether they want to be or not.
Well, yeah, you'll end up with two things, right? Or three things. You'll have fewer people come down to Chicago, as you already hear from a lot of suburbanites. Rightly or wrongly, they're not going. But the second thing is you'll see more and more people just leave Chicago, and you've heard of plenty of that. And of course, the third thing is, you're going to have vigilantes who are going to try to take care of themselves. I mean, there's a certain risk. Maybe it's still low for an individual person, but when you watch some of these videos, you see how emboldened criminals are. I mean, they are clearly emboldened. They don't fear. They don't worry. And that's what you're up against. So don't be surprised if you have more vigilante-type actions.
One more topic I wanted to get to is this rundown you did on DI staff at the state public universities in Illinois, the number of DEI, chancellor, associate chancellor, DEI director, et cetera, et cetera. So just in this moment, thanks to the Ivy League, where people are actually paying attention to this, and there seems to be some culling of DI jobs in corporate America and in academia, maybe less so in academia. It's very much alive and well in Illinois.
Well, it really is. We did a piece a few weeks ago, and it got a decent amount of attention. So we FOIA'd all the universities here in Illinois, trying to see what comes back. And you can imagine we got all kinds of different things. Some gave us a decent amount of information. The University of Illinois only gave us a list of 79 people, which is already a big number, but 79 people who work in DEI. But if you go to their website, you start finding all kinds of other people who work in the College of Engineering and the College of Business, and you start seeing these are names that the FOIA did not provide. So what you know is that the implementation of DEI is all over the place. It's got its tentacles everywhere. And the scary part about University of Illinois is that they have this loyalty oath they're asking professors to take, saying that they will and they have promoted DEI in their lesson plans, and how they teach and all that. And it's crazy stuff, and it needs a lot more attention. But it's going to take a lot of work because U of I refused to answer other questions about how much they're spending on vendors and things like that. So we're going to have to keep going at this.
Sure. Put your hand on Mao's Little Red Book and pledge allegiance to DEI. That sounds good. That sounds like the sort of thing that should be happening in quote-unquote higher education. By the way, the other piece of this with respect to these DI positions pays pretty good.
Yeah, pays pretty good. I mean, you got Sean Garrick, who's the head guy for diversity and equity, $364,000 total comp. So when we're worried about our our tuitions going up, you got the vice chancellor of diversity, equity, and engagement, $243,000. You got the associate chancellor, $230,000. And I can go down the list. And again, this is a truncated list. They did not want to give us the full data, so we're going to have to keep working at it to get that full list.
Well, you keep working. Ted Dabrowski, president of Wirepoints, wirepoints.org. All things Illinois policy related. Thanks, Ted.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great one, Ted.
And he joined us on the Turnkey.Pro Answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy on the AM 560 The Answer mobile app. Just text the word app to 64636 to download the app today.
Right now is a really good time to get your student loans under control. There are so many people that we talk to every day who tell us